Hooked on dopamine, how your phone is hijacking your happiness, and how to break free. Social media, online shopping, and video games all share a common, addictive ingredient. They're designed to keep us coming back for more by exploiting our brain's dopamine system. Every time you open an app, you get a little hit of pleasure, but it's fleeting, leaving you craving another fix. To keep us hooked, these platforms employ a constant barrage of tricks. Shopping apps bombard us with pop-up discounts and prize wheels. Social media feeds are an endless stream of notifications, likes, and infinite scrolling. And video games dazzle us with flashing lights, vibrant colors, and sound effects, much like slot machines in a casino. According to psychiatrist Dr. Anna Lembeck of Stanford University, our smartphones have become the modern-day equivalent of a hypodermic needle, delivering a constant stream of digital dopamine. She's seeing a surge in patients seeking help for depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts linked to their excessive use of these dopamine-inducing apps. Dopamine and the hedonic set point. One of my patients, a young man in his early 20s, presented with severe anxiety and depression. He was outwardly put together, but inside, he was struggling. After dropping out of college, he spent most of his days and nights playing video games. His story even hinted at suicidal ideation. 20 years ago, I might have prescribed antidepressants. But this time, I suggested something different, a dopamine fast. I advised him to abstain from all screens for 1 month. Throughout my career, I've witnessed a growing number of young, healthy individuals with stable lives and good education. Yet they're battling depression and anxiety without any history of trauma. What do they have in common? An overabundance of dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. Every time we engage in an enjoyable activity, like playing a video game, our brain releases dopamine, giving us a feeling of satisfaction. However, the brain processes both pleasure and pain in the same area. To maintain homeostasis, a state of internal balance, the brain adapts by downregulating our dopamine receptors, essentially making us less sensitive to pleasure. This means that the initial quickly fades. This imbalance leads to the phenomenon of the hedonic treadmill. People constantly seek new dopamine hits to combat the resulting emptiness. They fall into a vicious cycle, returning to the activity that initially gave them pleasure, but now, playing the game only makes them feel normal, not excited. When they finally decide to stop, they experience withdrawal symptoms similar to those of substance addiction, anxiety, irritability, insomnia, and intense cravings to return to their dopamine fix. Breaking free from digital addiction, finding your way back to balance. Dopamine, the brain chemical that makes us feel good, evolved millions of years ago to help us survive in a harsh world where pleasure was scarce and pain was ever present. But the world has changed. We now live in an environment of overwhelming abundance, especially when it comes to digital stimuli. Social media, gaming, online shopping. It's all just a click away. Never before have digital products been so abundant and so powerfully addictive. From notification pings to flashing lights, celebratory sounds, and likes. These digital dopamine hits are throwing many of us off balance. Ironically, despite having so much pleasure at our fingertips, we're becoming increasingly miserable, with rates of depression, anxiety, and mental distress on the rise. According to the World Happiness Report, people in wealthy countries, including the US, Belgium, Canada, Japan, and many others, report being less happy than they were 10 years ago. Research shows that only by abstaining from digital devices for a period of time can we truly understand their impact on our lives. That's why I advised my patient to take a month-long break from gaming to allow his brain to reset its dopamine balance. As he went through the initial discomfort, he gradually started feeling happier, less anxious, and less depressed. After a month, he was able to return to gaming in moderation, limiting himself to 2 hours a day, 2 days a week. But the key is to maintain a healthy distance from highly addictive games. To prevent himself from falling back into old habits, he even separated his work and gaming setups. One computer for work and another solely for gaming. He also made a commitment to only play with friends, avoiding playing with strangers online. This helped him rediscover the joy of social connection, a healthier source of dopamine. These experiences remind us that not everyone is addicted to gaming, but almost everyone is hooked on some form of digital drug. Smartphones have become the delivery device for a constant stream of dopamine. If you try limiting your phone use today, you might feel uncomfortable at first, but if you persist, the rewards will come. You'll gradually reduce your need to constantly check your phone, and you'll have the opportunity to be more fully present in your life. The simple pleasures, the everyday moments, will become more meaningful when you're not constantly distracted by a screen.